Hey everybody, welcome back to FSi DFS, looking at the 8-game main slate on Wednesday, August 28th. This is a tough slate. I'm just going to throw that out there right now in terms of salary, because pitching is just really sparse on guys that you're going to have interest in or guys that you can trust. Now we got, the top guys of Sale and Peralta taking up over 20,000 of your salary. So it's going to be really tough in terms of building an entire lineup that you feel confident in and enjoy. Value is out there, but just putting in 8 value bats is not really a strategy that I enjoy doing. Before we get started, just pay attention to the weather in St. Louis. Looks like it could be a little bit of something. Also, the White Sox pitcher, I don't know if it's flexing. It's to be determined. I just go by the MLB.com app. They've never steered me wrong yet. And right now it's to be determined. But if it is flexing, if it is somebody else, you're going to like the Texas bats because, well, they're affordable. So let's just dive right in here with the pitcher starting up at the top. Chris Sale, Freddie Peralta, our 1-2 punch, and really our only two high salary guys that we have. Chris Sale, the $11K price tag facing off against Minnesota is a little bit concerning. At the same time, as we kind of go through the remaining pitchers that we have available to us, you'll quickly see that Sale is a guy that you're going to probably want in your lineups, especially in those cash games. I prefer Peralta over Sale, just because he does bring you a little bit more of that salary relief. But Sale, he's certainly in play. He's not a fade by any means because of his salary price tag or the matchup or anything. He's able to go out there and get you a very solid floor. At $11K at this price tag, you're really looking for can he get me 26 to 27 DK points? And that's just like the threshold of paying off his salary. Can he exceed that? Yes. But if he only goes out there and gets you 16 to 20 DK points at $11K, that's really going to hurt just because it takes so much out of your salary. Mentioned already, I do like Freddie Peralta over Chris Sale in terms of like a point per dollar perspective. Both of these guys have the exact same strikeout over under prop at 6.5. Both of them are juiced like the exact same amount. So Vegas isn't really seeing much of a difference. I like the matchup facing off against San Francisco. So a little bit edge to him there too. Peralta doesn't provide you as much of a floor. We talk about this every video. He's one of those boom-bust pitchers where he can go out there and really struggle. But at the same time, he's capable of going out there and getting you 30 DK points. So I still prefer Peralta over Sale, but I could totally understand if you wanted to go vice versa. It is going to be tough to jam both these guys in. You do that, you're only looking at 3-6 remaining for the remainder of your bats. And we have Coors Field on the slate. We've got potentially Chris Flexen on the slate, but also the White Sox bullpen that we're going to want to be targeting. So salary is going to get a little bit tight, but we'll talk about those builds here in a little bit. Let's continue talking about the pitchers as we head into the mid-tier. This mid-tier it's murky, it's mushy, it's who knows what's going on. I could listen to people argue to rank these 4 or 5 guys like Bassett to Musgrove in a whole mess of different ways, but I'm just going to explain my reasoning as to ranking them why I did. I have the sheet, I'll pull it up here after I do talk here. Bassett, I actually threw him out. I don't want any interest in Bassett here facing off against Boston. Boston just tees off on right-handed pitching with all the lefties that they do have in their lineup. One of the best bats, one of the best offenses in the entire league against right-handed pitching. And Bassett's really been struggling in terms of the home run ball and just the hard hits that he's been allowing too. So combine those two things against the best team against right-handed pitching in baseball. I don't want any interest in Bassett at 8K. That leaves Musgrove, Burns, Rodriguez, and Harrison. Musgrove and Burns, I think they're the top 2. Well, they are the top 2. But Burns, he's a better real-life pitcher than he is a fantasy pitcher. And now he's facing off against the Dodgers, so that knocks him down even more. Musgrove against St. Louis, much better matchup, but do we trust Joe Musgrove? He's still working back from that injury that he did have I think it was a bone bruise. Let's see. Yeah, right here, bone bruise in his right elbow. So just want to be monitoring like his pitch count. He has been going up ever so steadily from 63 up to 75 in his 3 starts back. So they're taking it slow, but he looked awesome in his last start against the Mets. I still think he probably only tops out at 83 to 85 pitches would be my guess. But again, nice matchup against St. Louis. I think he's going to be my favorite in this top tier. And then Rodriguez and Harrison just kind of like rounding things out. Harrison, yeah, he's been looking better as of late. But he's also faced off against Colorado and the White Sox and Washington. So he hasn't really faced Murderer's Row by any means. But we're going to put Erod in there a little bit over him. Kind of the same deal, though. He really hasn't played anybody. Miami, Colorado, and then Cleveland. He struggled against Cleveland. So I think that Rodriguez does provide a little bit more of a strikeout upside, but at the same time, yeah, no, kind of gross. So Musgrove would be my favorite, followed by Burns, Harrison, then Rodriguez. But do I like it? No. Going into the cheap tier, this is another just yikes. What are we doing here? It's going to be really tough to find things that we do enjoy. We're going to go with Leiter up at the top, facing off against the White Sox. And I put yikes there because if you recall from earlier in the season, Leiter had a stint in the majors that did not go well at all. 3 starts and just dismal performances each time. Now he's facing off against the White Sox, though. Historically bad all-time offense. So maybe he's able to bounce it around. He also has been down in the minors for the past 3 months, and he's looked very sharp down there. You can see he's gone 63 strikeouts across 42 innings with a 2.57 ERA in AAA. So maybe he's going to be able to bounce back. You know, that time off has really helped him. We kind of saw it with oh my gosh. Jackson Holliday for Baltimore, like just this super highly touted top prospect, just really struggles, couldn't get anything going, sent down to the minors, came back, looked like a whole different player. Maybe that's the case with Leiter here. He's a top pitching prospect and just really struggled out of the gate. Sent back down, maybe it's time back up here in a very favorable matchup is a way for him to bounce back and do very well. So I'm going to go with Leiter as my favorite guy in this cheap salary tier. Severino and Bello, you're really looking for GPP upside and strikeout upside with these guys. I don't really trust either of them with the floor. I trust Bello with the floor a little bit more than Severino, but Bello's got a tough matchup facing off against a Toronto team that those bats are swinging some hot stuff. So I do like the Toronto bats, which is going to maybe knock me off Bello a little bit more. Payante against St. Louis, or against San Diego, Festa, he can get you strikeouts, but he's only going to get you 4 innings, maybe. So there's a little bit of hesitation with that as well. So what does that leave us with? Peralta, Sale, maybe a super chalky Leiter who has just gotten destroyed in his 3 young starts to his MLB career. He's probably going to be popular, though, just because he's facing off against the White Sox, and he's probably going to be popular because he's facing off against the White Sox and there's nobody else to really enjoy. So if that's the case, if Leiter does become popular, I think that the White Sox can be in very, very intriguing and strong leverage play. And I do have them as my favorite leverage stack. You can see I also got San Francisco and Minnesota here because I really think that Peralta and Sale are going to see a majority of the ownership. So looking at the bats, top bat, Coors Field, it's in there. We already know about Coors Field. Miami bats got priced up a little bit, but there are guys who, still are cheap and affordable that you could be targeting. Jonah Bride, he's 4.5K. Berger's kind of fallen off a cliff. He had the greatest 3-week stretch ever, and then he's just kind of fallen off as of late. But Connor Norby, 3.9K. Otto Lopez at 3.7. You're going to have to put Lopez at second if you do want to get both of these guys in here. Let's see. Pash. 3.2, but am I excited about that? No. Conine, probably not going to be in a lefty on lefty matchup. He's already back up to 3K. We got one game with him. That was it. But probably not going to be in there at 3K. So, like, there is some affordability with Miami, but it is Coors Field. Colorado on the other side, yeah, Coors Field again. But I really do think that Texas is going to be my top on the board from a point per dollar perspective. I just want to say I really, really like Boston here, and I really do like Baltimore as well. But Boston facing off against Bassett, like if Bassett's seeing some ownership, I think I'm going to go really heavy on Boston with the home run upside, the GPP slate breaking potential that this offense has, and all of the lefties in their lineup that can absolutely rake. So I really, really do like Boston. They're just priced up quite a bit. It's going to be tough to jam in like a Peralta and Sale to get Boston. So we're going to go with Texas. They're a lot more affordable. The Texas offense has been struggling. There is no denying that at all. These guys are averaging like maybe 2.5 to 3 runs over the past week. Like it's really rough. However, these are guys that are still capable of doing very well. Like I still view this as like a solid offense. You have, the top prospect of Langford, but even guys like Smith, Young, Lowe, Seager, like up and down the lineup, these guys can do some damage. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Flexen in here. Maybe they send somebody out, but either way, you're going to see a poor starting pitcher. And you're going to see a really, really bad bullpen. And if you're going to be getting these salary price tags against those pitching matchups, I'm going to have a lot of interest, regardless of how much they have struggled over the past week. So I don't want to go too much into like individual plays, just because we're not 100% sure who is even going to be the starting pitcher here. But you can definitely be assured I think that Texas, from a point per dollar standpoint, is a really, really intriguing play on the slate. Baltimore, kind of linked them in with Boston. Oh, and Texas, outside of Coors, highest implied run total on the board. Something to think about. Let's see. Who were we talking about? Baltimore. Baltimore facing off against Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler is a shell of himself. The injuries caught up to him or something. He's just really struggling. Can't strike anybody out, just allowing quite a bit of hard contact. And Baltimore, much like Boston, they just have so many left-handed bats that they can plug into their lineup, and like switch hitting bats that they can put into their lineup. I really do like the upside that these guys can bring. If you want to put them in like the GPP category with Boston, I could 100% listen to that as well. Just because, like Boston, they do have some expensive bats that's going to be tough to jam in if you are going with a Chris Sale and a Freddie Peralta. Because again, if you go Sale and Peralta, you're looking at 3.6K remaining. Looking at the Baltimore bats, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys above that. So it's going to be impossible to jam a full stack for those guys with these two pitchers. And then Boston, the same deal, except you're looking at like their entire lineup. So you're going to have to fade one of these guys, maybe take out Sale and throw in Leiter at 7.1. Now you're looking at 4.1 remaining for the remainder of your bats. That's much, much more affordable in getting one of these big Boston or Baltimore stacks. I hesitate about fading both, but I could listen to it. I mentioned how like Bayo, I do trust his floor a little bit more than a guy like Severino, but I do like Severino's upside a little bit more. But Bayo's facing off against the Toronto side, who's been swinging a very hot bat. Toronto's looking really solid as of late, and I do like them as in like another value team. You can see I have them ranked right here below. Miami is one of my favorite value guys. Below Perfido at 3K, he can be going in there. Barger at 2.9, he could be seeing like at that 5 spot, like right in the middle of the lineup. Wouldn't shock me if he's there. If you do go with like a Toronto Miami mix, you're gonna have to put Barger in the outfield because you got Otto Lopez and Connor Norby in that third base spot. So put Barger in the outfield. Let's see, Varsho, another outfielder. So just a bunch of outfielders. But Guerrero, if you're able to get him in there, he's been smashing the ball as of late, which is fantastic to see. It's always more fun when Vladdy's hitting very well. So I might have to go super cheap. Double pitcher if you want to get some of these, GPP stacks that I'm talking about, like Boston and Baltimore. Texas, I think, is going to be really popular just because of the price points. But I could see the ownership getting a little bit reduced just because of how bad their offense has been as of late. And then you got Coors Field slate, but I think that Toronto is really intriguing as another GPP pivot. And then Chicago White Sox as my favorite leverage stack facing off against lighter. So that kind of covers it. Hopefully this was able to help you out and guiding you in the right direction. We appreciate all your just viewing. What's the word? Support throughout our time, throughout the course of this season as we kind of get towards the end here. We do have NFL content coming up this season. College football. We're going to have cores for college football. We got cores for the WNBA. We cover all the 4 major sports. Golf is there. We got a free sports betting Discord channel that you feel free to come by. Talk about some of your favorite plays. Take some of other people's favorite plays. There's no, I don't want to say restrictions because we're going to monitor it, but feel free to come join us. We'd love to have you. So thanks as always for watching. Really do appreciate it. Good luck in your contest, and we'll see you tomorrow.